First blood. There we go. Perfect.
The battle begins.
Oh, the Wraith King's already back on the bottom lane. So we're going to get right into this match. I'm not going to introduce the things they're already going. So let's just go over a match. We got a Zeus against the Shadow Fiend. The tri-lane on the bottom lane of the Jakiro, Vengeful Spirit, and Wraith King. And there's two heroes waiting in the wings. It's the Lion and the Undying. Stun onto the Slardar. Whips comes in with the Ice Path. The Crush not going to be able to get off. The double stun comes off, and now Slardar in a lot of trouble. Here comes the secondary stun from the Wraith King. Wraith King is about to now. The Jakiro takes the last hit, and now Wisp taking a lot of damage. Gonna get away, and the two supports are left on that bottom lane. Lots of mana used by the Radiant heroes. And Slardar is going to come back with full mana. It's the old Juggernaut versus Darkseer matchup on the top lane. Meanwhile, there's another stun here onto the Slardar, so this Wraith King is now out of mana. And the Lion even has the Clarity going to get cancelled by a creep. A lot of harass could come out from the Jakiro with the Liquid Fire. It has a cooldown of 20 seconds at level 1, but it keeps decreasing at every level. So as this Jakiro continues, things get a lot easier. Slardar shares the Liquid Fire with the tower, doing a little bit of harass damage to it. Jakiro's just going to walk over and find the double damage rune at the bottom lane. Meanwhile, Zeus gets the bounty rune. Slardar goes over to the side shop, going to pick up a magic stick. As a stun comes out onto the Wraith King, doesn't really matter though, as he's just going to back up. In terms of last hits, the teams are pretty even at this point. There comes the Hex onto the Wraith King. Nice Ice Path by the Jakiro onto 2. As the Crush comes through onto the Wraith King. There's a stun onto the Slardar. Slardar taking a lot of damage as the next stun comes out onto the Wraith King. Wraith King still pretty tanky, getting chased down by the zombies. And the zombie is going to end up getting killed. Nice Ice Path also comes through as the Undying goes down to Jakiro. And now this Lion is getting pretty low. The Vengeful Spirit does need to be careful though, as the Slardar is salved up, ready to go. With a Crush through the trees, Wraith King. Gonna see the Slardar get Ice Pathed up. I'm still not sure about this tri-lane on tri-lane matchup though. It'll be interesting. The Undying, I think, has to do a lot better with his positioning and levels. He needs to get those levels up. Because once you don't have that tombstone, zombies chasing things down, things tend to get a little bit tough. Also, Jakiro and Wraith King are some of the tankier heroes you can put in a tri-lane. So Lion's doing pretty well with his positioning. Hasn't died. He's going to put the stun onto the Wraith King, but the decay isn't going to hit him, so they can't really do anything else there. Elsewhere on the map, Darkseer is doing pretty well against the Jakiro. Jakiro hasn't picked up an Iron Talon. That is an item that I think does extremely well against the Darkseer now. That 6.86 is here. It removes 40% of the health of a creep. So you can easily use that against the Iron Shield creep. Shadow Fiend doing okay on the mid lane. Zeus is still doing pretty well, but Zeus isn't as much of an auto attacker in terms of being a threat as perhaps the Venge that we saw in the last game. So I think we might see another go here by the Radiant onto the heroes. Jakiro with some more harassing. And the Lion, smoked up, goes over to the mid lane. Could try to put the kill onto the Shadow Fiend as the Zeus is level 6. He still needs some more mana though. The Zeus doesn't have the highest mana right now. So it's just gonna be Lion smoked up, waiting for the Shadow Fiend to make the move here. The lane is pushed pretty far in, and Feeder, he's pretty low. Meanwhile, the Juggernaut has taken out the Darkseer on the top lane. The Juggernaut went down to about 20 health. So the Darkseer miscalculating a little bit. But it does leave the Undying alone on the mid lane. I mean, the bottom lane. B-Tech's going to get stunned up and hexed up and taken out by the Zeus. So they didn't really communicate there that the Slardar was missing from the bottom lane. And that leaves the Shadow Fiend with 11 souls. He loses half of them when he dies. And they probably should have gotten a kill on the Undying if they knew the Slardar wasn't there. More harass on the tower by the Jakiro with the level 2 Liquid Fire. And Slardar's just going to sit around that mid lane. He doesn't even care. This Shadow Fiend can still go down. And Zeus is going to find a double damage rune. They're just going to range back over to the mid lane. It is spotted out by the Radiant Observer. And this bottom lane tower is taking a lot of damage. It is nice to see the Jakiro make a little bit of a resurgence onto the scene. Here comes the Slardar once again. Big damage coming out onto the Shadow Fiend, but he's going to back up. The Zeus is going to finish off the kill. And the TP by the Vengeful Spirit onto the tier 2 probably wasn't the best TP. She probably could have gone to the tier 1 there. Jakiro misses the Ice Path onto the Slardar, who's taken a lot of damage with the sprint being active. But the Slardar now has the Tranquil boost, so he's going to regen a lot of that health back up. And the level 4 Wraith King still needs to be careful. Here comes a sprint forward. The Ice Path not happening just yet for the Jakiro. Here it is. It's not going to hit on anything. And the Wraith King in trouble will in the end go down to the Undying, who used the Soul Rip to secure the kill there. Jakiro spins around, hits some creeps. He's going to get some help from the Slardar in just a second, who's rotating around this map so much. And is going to sprint into the trees now. So the Slardar looking for the Darkseer on the top lane. Darkseer goes into the trees, and he's going to keep running forward. The Slardar, though, sprinting pretty fast, going to hit the crush, and the vacuum is not going to be very effective. In the end, Slardar comes in with a smack to the mace to the face of the Darkseer, and the Darkseer goes down again in the top lane. There's a stun onto the Undying. There's the Ice Path follow-up. The Soul Rip comes out. There's another stun by the Vengeful Spirit, and the Undying finally goes down in the bottom lane. That's the kill that they probably should have been looking for a while, as the Slardar's been rotating around the map.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Radiant with the push onto the bottom tier 1 tower. Lion comes up and immediately walks away. That's another here that could easily get hit by the stun potential. So the Undying comes through, and the Radiant back up. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the Shadow Fiend in trouble once again. The Zeus ult comes through and kills the Shadow Fiend. Zeus going to the side. Not going to get hit by anything. The Ice Path misses once again. And now here comes the Slardar and the Zeus. Slardar with a crush hits it on 2. Whiff's going to get hit by the Zeus. Lightning Bolt. Dual Breath gonna miss once again, and the crush of the Slardar will eventually finish off the Jakiro, and the Zeus Lightning Bolt also finishes off the Vengeful Spirit. Couple of kills in the mid lane for the Slardar, who is pretty much being a nuisance all over the map, basically just TPing everywhere, using the sprint to get in for kills, and absolutely wrecking anybody on the Radiant. Once again, they leave the Undying alone on that bottom lane. The Radiant still trying to find a foothold in this map. The Slardar sprinting forward, trying to look for the kill. Not spied out just yet. Finds the Jakiro. Uses the crush. Here's the damage. And now Wisp taking a lot of damage. There's the Ice Path. Not going to hit on anything. There's the Suzul. They do a lot of damage. And now Slardar trying to get away. Zeus gets hit by the Dual Breath. And on the backside, Lion finds the Vengeful Spirit. Turns Vengeful Spirit into a frog. She's trying to go through the trees. There's an Earth Spike. Oh, he misses it. He just ran around that Vengeful Spirit for a bit too long and wasn't able to find the stun for the kill there. So the level... Okay, interesting story here. The Wraith King not yet leveled up the Reincarnation. And Lion's going to suck his mana. It is a good move probably as the Wraith King. Not sure if that level 1 Reincarnation is going to be useful or not. So he wants to save that skill point until he knows it will be useful in a team fight, instead of just having it popped in a time that it really isn't useful and using that cooldown, since it is pretty long at level 1. Jakiro gonna find the Juggernaut, who doesn't have enough mana just now for the ult. Now he does. And Juggernaut's gonna get the Mask of Madness. There's the ultimate onto the Jakiro. And it goes on to the Darkseer. Juggernaut, of course, with the level 2 ult right now. The Fast Frog trying to get away. The Undying did go down to the Shadow Fiend raises. And now the Dire, they're just going to kind of sit there in the top lane. Ooh, Slardar breaks the TP in the trees from the Shadow Fiend. And now the Juggernaut rushing in with the Mask of Madness, critting down the Shadow Fiend. And now Wade puts the stun onto the line. Doesn't really matter. No, here comes Akashi in the back. Finger to the face. Double crushed by the Slardar. And now the Wraith King, he's leveled up his ult, and it's going to get popped right here. Does he want to use it? Does he want to go down? There's a miss stun by the Lion, and he will eventually get taken out by the Wraith King. However, the Juggernaut does take out the Wraith King. It's a triple kill for the Juggernaut. And quite a few heroes dead on that top lane. Advantage going to the Dire, as Juggernaut once again uses that Mask of Madness blink. Stun by the Slardar. Ice Path wasn't enough to stop him. And now Wisp puts a dual breath onto the Juggernaut. Doesn't matter though. Unstoppable is Juggernaut. That's another kill for him on the top lane. And we slow the match back down. Zeus is going for that Bloodstone. He's got a recipe. Still pretty far from the item. Smoke comes through from the Dire. They're looking for a kill on the top lane. They might find out the Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit backing up a little bit. Does she know something? The answer is no. Here they go. Slardar has a blink. Slardar uses the sprint. There's the crush on 2. They know exactly what's coming, but they can't even stop it. There's the decay by the Undying. In the end, the Vengeful Spirit does go down to Akashi. Akashi, though, taking a lot of damage from the tower. He splits the aggro. And Darkseer is getting chased down by a lot of zombies. Killing spree is the Slardar. Zeus ult comes through. Doesn't even matter. It does take the Shadow Fiend pretty low in the mid lane. But I think he was mainly using it to help them out top, which it really wasn't needed at all. The top tier 1 tower has survived through all this. Probably not for long though. Zeus is going to range over to the top rune spot, find the regen rune, and he'll bottle it up. Lion's just kind of sitting alone on that bottom lane. He's going to use the stun on the creeps. Not going to get any last hits though. And Juggernaut's just going to slash down that top tier 1 tower. Finally going down the Slardar decides to blink right on top of it. Unfortunately, it wasn't there anymore. And Zeus is getting Alright, he's got his Bloodstone. Disassembles the arcane boots for that one.
Radiant's top tower is under
Lion's
attack.
gonna find a Darkseer in the jungle, also plants down the ward. And now he's gonna try to go it away. Stuns out the Darkseer, and now the Zeus is here. Zeus puts the damage onto the Darkseer.
Dire's bottom
And now a couple heroes are caught out. Vengeful Spirit in the middle of everything, swaps the Zeus back in, but he's got the rest of his team there. Slardar comes with a crush onto the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend getting pretty low, tries to get that ult off, but he didn't. Now the Jakiro getting hit by the zombies. He will go down as well. That's 3 down for the Radiant. And the Dire taking pretty big advantage of this game. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Wraith King TP's right into a Juggernaut. Juggernaut's mad. Juggernaut's taking damage from the Blade Mail. Gonna get stunned out by the Vengeful Spirit. And now, Wraith King stun can't come through. Juggernaut trying to get out of here. He does with the spin back to the base. No stuns can interrupt that. And after that action, we'll just be following this push onto the bottom tier 1 tower by the Slardar and the Undying.
under attack.
A couple heroes go down to that bottom tier 1 tower. As Zeus finishes off the range creep with the lightning bolt.
Under attack.
Juggernaut uses Mask of Madness to get down to the bottom lane even faster. As they get ready to push the tower once more.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Not going to be defended at all by the Radiant as they just go over to the top lane and try to get a tower of their own. Interestingly enough, even with Jakiro, they haven't gotten any towers in this match. And the tower finally goes down.
Dire's structures are fortified.
And the push will just continue. Alright, couple of TPs in from the Dire. Ice Path is going to stop the Juggernaut in his tracks, and he's just going to, okay, Radiant trying to get out, but they're not going to be able to. Shadow Fiend gets turned into a frog. He's going to get crushed up. There's a vacuum too. Doesn't matter. He's going to die. Double kill for the Zeus. And the Juggernaut, he's having his way. Wreaking havoc. Nice blink crushed by the Slardar. He's going to stop Queen Elizabeth in his tracks. He's going to get fingered and taken down by the Slardar. 3 down in the top lane. The Radiant haven't really gotten any kills for a while. But they did stop the push onto the bottom tier 2 tower by trying to take a tower of their own. And eventually losing 3 heroes. So instead of the bottom tier 2 tower, it's going to be a push down the top lane. Maybe they think they can go high ground at this point. Juggernaut's got a TP scroll coming on the courier. 14 Bloodstone charges on the Zeus. And there's a Blink Force on the Slardar. Slardar is just going to crush the ground. Let's take a quick look at the XP and gold. Pretty firmly in favor of the Dire at this point. Nice vacuum on 3 as Slardar is going to force staff himself back through. Omni Slash on a couple as the Juggernaut going to get swapped back in by the Vengeful Spirit. Goes back through the wall. And all the Dire heroes are available as only the Darkseer went down. And the Dire go for that middle tower instead.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
While the Juggernaut pushes on the bottom lane, trying to regen some of that health that he lost. Wraith King gets the clarity on the courier. Maybe it was a TP scroll. I don't know. Either way, it wasn't very important, and the creeps continue to get smacked around, crushed by the Slardar onto the Shadow Fiend. Gonna keep him there for a second. He's taking so much damage, he almost goes down to the Zeus, but there is a nice heal coming out. So this makes the Juggernaut able to go into the Roshan pit. Roshan gets turned into a frog. And again, he's not very happy about these heroes coming to kill him. Eventually he goes down and Juggernaut picks up the Aegis. This is going to fuel their push, as they really want to end this game pretty soon. 20 minutes into the game here. 5 kills to 24 at this point. And for net worth, which I haven't put up just yet, we've got the Juggernaut firmly in the lead with 12,000 and pretty much doubling up the Shadow Fiend of the Wraith King and the Shadow Fiend of the other team.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So once again, the Radiant decide to abandon their tower and instead go for the top tier 1. And the push onto the bottom lane continues for the Dire. Alright, so not many here to defend the bottom tier 3 tower. There's a nice path from the Jakiro. Going to stop the Juggernaut for just a second, but he has an Aegis. He can basically take whatever damage the Dire have to deal out here. Stun comes out from the Wraith King. There's a Tombstone drop down. The Healing Ward is going to be dropped down behind. There's a nice vacuum by the Darkseer. And the wall drop down after Akashi takes a lot of damage, and he's just going to use the Omni Slash, going all over the place. He puts the damage onto the Wraith King, which procs the Reincarnation, and eventually Akashi forced to go back. There's a nice mechanism by the Undying. No one's gone down just yet. The Reincarnation was popped, and the Dire back up a little bit, but they are nearly full health except for the Juggernaut. So he's still got the Aegis anyway. Sardar might be looking for the opening. They're waiting for this wall to go away. And Slardar sprints up, Blink Crush onto the Shadow Fiend. He's going to force himself out of there. And now the creeps are quickly disappearing. They go up the high ground. Juggernaut going to put the damage onto the tier 3 tower. Shadow Fiend about to go down. Doesn't go down just yet. Not enough damage there. Wraith King TP's in, gets turned into a frog. And the tier 3 tower does go down in the end. Zombies all over the place. Wraith King comes in with the stun onto the Juggernaut. There's a nice stun by the Slardar onto the Shadow Fiend. The Blade Mail of the Wraith King forcing the rest of the Dire to try to work around that damage. Eventually does go down. And now the Slardar. He goes in. Zeusel interrupted, but it doesn't matter. And eventually he gets a double kill. GG's called. Just another match in the world of Dota 2, I guess. And the last kill goes on to the Shadow Fiend as the match ends. 5 kills to 28 as the team full of love, I guess, decides to give up in the end and lose to the Dire, whoever they were. Alright, well that'll do it for that match. Once again, I'm Pythian, and we'll be trying to find another match for you in just a second. Thanks for watching, and as always, cheers.